Jonesy and Amanda.
Jam Nation.
Well, our next guest is my absolute idol. She is the goddaughter of King Charles. She served as bridesmaid to Princess Diana. But India Hicks's links to royalty go much further back than that. Her mother, Lady Pamela, played a pivotal role in the royal family. She was Queen Elizabeth's lady-in-waiting. In fact, she was by her side for some of the biggest moments in history, including the day the Queen became a monarch. It's an extraordinary life, and it's been captured in a new book by India called Lady Pamela. India, hello.
Here she is.
Hello, hello. So lovely to be with you both.
So nice to talk
I like
to you.
when-
I'd say both, because the last time I said, oh, Amanda, and then that was...
Jonesy
an
got a
issue.
bit jealous.
Well, I know that you have a BFF thing going on, but I want to be a part of this this triumvirate.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, welcome
Yeah,
along.
we're letting you in.
We're letting you in just for a few minutes only. Your mother's life, Lady Pamela Hicks's life, is quite extraordinary. She was by Princess Elizabeth's side in Africa, pretty much in a treehouse, when Princess Elizabeth learnt that her father, the king, had died. And years before it was expected, she was to become queen. What extraordinary memories your mum must have of that.
Well, it's funny because the book is called Lady Pamela, and it's called My Mother's Extraordinary Years as Daughter of the Viceroy of India, Lady-in-Waiting to the Queen and wife of David Hicks. So it's that she's lived in the shadow of all of these people. And I actually felt it was time to tell her story because she was there at these pivotal historical moments. I mean, she saw the birth of a nation when she was out in India. She was, as you say, that with the Queen, that moment she was up the tree with the Queen. She went up as Princess Elizabeth comes down as the Queen. And there were only two other people there apart from Prince Philip, my mother, and Martin Sharp was the private secretary. My mother is really the only person alive today who was there. Probably the only person alive today, I would hazard a guess, who has sat next to Mahatma Gandhi at a prayer meeting. I mean, literally right next to him. She said it was extraordinary when you hear talk about it, how, there were 800,000 people that would come and gather to listen to him and how he controlled that crowd just with his voice. I mean, amazing things. And she's seen things that really is a disappearing world that we'll never see again.
How is she? She's in her mid-90s now. Her memory seems incredible.
Incredible. And I think that's because she's an avid reader. So she's always exercising that muscle. Amanda, I'm exercising the wrong muscles, clearly. Not exercising that reading muscle enough. But she's got an amazing memory. She's got a brilliant wit about her. And it tells a story absolutely perfect. Her comedic timing is so professional. I literally, on my Instagram just now, I've just posted a beautiful picture of the house that we grew up in. And I said that I'd taken my mum to the pub last weekend. And she leant across the table to me. And bear in mind, she's lived in the same village for 64 years. And she leant across and she said, I've seen many changes to this pub. It first began as a brothel.
Oh.
As a brothel. Fantastic. She'd seen it as a brothel. We were having fish and chips. So there we go.
That was one of the specials back in the brothel days as well, I suppose.
In the brothel, yeah. So go on Instagram, India Hicks Style, and you'll see that really funny moment of her telling me that.
But you were Princess Diana's bridesmaid. How old were you when you were Princess Diana's bridesmaid?
I was 12. I was little, little enough, but old enough to take the job seriously. And I had this beautiful waist-length hair all of my life, and just before that wedding, I decided to chop it off and look like a boy. Really, truly, the worst hair dye of my life. And there were probably, 1 billion people watching that? Terrible.
Not all the family memories have been so joyous. Your grandfather, Lord Mountbatten, was assassinated by the IRA. You lost your cousin in that event as well. So there's some really traumatic moments too.
Well, it's definitely worth mentioning that. And in fact, I really deliberated about putting that chapter in this book because essentially this book is a beautiful illustrated biography. And once I began to dig in the archives, I came across all these amazing photographs, press cuttings, beautiful invitations, programs, royal letters from the Queen, all sorts of things that I felt needed to come out because this is history that we're seeing. But I also wanted people to understand that, yes, of course, my mother has lived a very privileged life indeed, but it has been tainted with great tragedy. And the murder of my grandfather in 1979 by the IRA was an extraordinarily difficult moment for my mother to overcome, so much so that actually she developed breast cancer a number of years later. Of course, when I talk to her about that period. And I said, but, Mum, my God, you have breast cancer. She so didn't want to be an inconvenience to anyone. She got the gardener to drive her to the hospital, because that is the generation that we're talking about. That is the upbringing of that extraordinary generation who went through a war, and they realized it was not about them. We were to look out and not in. So in the book, even though it is a beautifully illustrated 252 pages of delightful images, there are some lessons to be learned from the 95 years. And yes, that enormous tragedy definitely needed to be talked about, because I think in it there is this extraordinary lesson about understanding and coping with grief. And one of my mother's great quotes that she loves to say, that she didn't come up with, but she always loves to say, is turn your face to the sun and the shadows will fall behind you. And that was absolutely how we were brought up after that. I was 11 years old. I'd never heard of a political assassination. We were there all together on holiday in Ireland before, really this terrible, terrible thing happened. But as a family, we were told we will hold no bitterness. We will not regret this. We will just move forward. And I think that that's an extraordinary lesson that so many of us could benefit from today.
King Charles is your godfather. Do you talk to him regularly? Does he send you cards and things like that?
I don't talk to him regularly. He's quite a busy man. And he, though, is my godfather, and he is an incredibly loyal, dedicated, extraordinary man. And he's a really wonderful godfather. And yes, he never forgets a birthday or Christmas, that's for sure. When I was younger, he would fastidiously send a gift, a birthday present. I've got other godparents who are utterly useless, but he was quite busy. Did. He is an amazing, amazing man. I think, we all watched as a chapter closed when the late Queen Elizabeth died and when he ascended to the throne. And I think we've seen with great reassurance and encouragement and comfort that he and Camilla and Kate and William are this extraordinary four that are very, very solid, and they are modernizing monarchy in a way that I think is needed. But more than that, he's a man who so long before any of us understood about sustainability or thinking in a green way, he was hugging trees and running his car on yoga, and we were like, who's this crazy man? And now we're like, thank goodness he's our king.
Could Harry come back into the fold? Do you think he wished Harry happy birthday recently? Can you see a softening going on there?
I would have absolutely no comment. I wouldn't have any understanding of that relationship at all.
I want to hear more about yogurt-driven cars.
Where's these yogurt-driven cars coming from?
I think maybe I've exaggerated slightly, but I think that there is a lot of yogurt involved. No, I think there is yogurt
Top
involved.
up on your YoPlay. Well, India, it's great to talk to you. You can get your hands on Lady Pamela now.
The book.
That's the book, by the way.
Don't get your hands on Lady Pamela. She would be she's 95 and playing canasta quietly in England. But the book took me 2 years, and it's really my letter of love to my mum, who has seen this incredible unfolding of history in the 95 years that she's led. And it is absolutely in Australia, ready to be shopped and read.
Extraordinary. Thank you for joining us, India. Look after yourself.
Thank you very much, both of you, Jonesy.
Thank you
for having me.
I'm a part of the gang.
You
I
are
love it.
indeed.